right throughout the southwest of Noongar country. Our plants, our animals, our knowledge systems, the interconnectedness, our ancient knowledges and wisdom are all contained and come from our Budja, our country. And we wanted a way in which we could show and describe those slight nuances as you travel throughout Noongar Nation, those 14 different areas with the different plants, animals, slightly different ways of talking and sharing knowledge and the stories that are interrelated around that country itself, but also interrelated throughout Noongar country, and how we can show those best. And hence the Borna Boronga Cultural Reflection Space came to be. When we initially did our first campus sweep right across the university, this was certainly one of the main focal points on campus that was crying out for some attention. It was a vast chunk of real estate that was highly underutilised. People rushed through here. There's a campus parking, visitor short-term parking, bus drop-off points. So lots of action happened through here, but not much of a reason for people to stop. But since the plantings have been through here, the seats, now there's lots of reasons for people to stop, and people certainly make use of that space and place on a regular basis. Our cultural teachings and learnings come from the countryside that we live in. It's a different way in which our knowledge systems were captured. There were no written words. There were no books, no written language right throughout Australia. So our songs, our story, our dance, our art, all served as our elementary building blocks. And then through your lived life journey as you matured as an adult, you started to see and experience those songs and stories that were taught to you as a small child start to become real life events right around you. And that was a reaffirmation of your knowledge systems from your earliest age, and serves in good time for you too to impart that knowledge to your next generation. The Borna Boronga Cultural Reflection Space, and Borna being our Noongar word for wood or timber, trees, and a Boronga is your totems. So we've got 14 different poles in situ from the 14 different language groups that make up Noongar Nation, with the language groups engraved into one half of a split log, just like a book. So it's quite contrasting knowledge systems at the front of a library, where written words stored on shelves, or indeed computer systems now supporting recording and sharing that knowledge there for people to access it thereafter. The pole positions are a slight artistic representation of each of those 14 different clan areas throughout our Noongar Nation. They're not exact, map specific if you like, but certainly where the 14 different poles are, we chose which names were ascribed to where through those approximations off country. So our 2018 National NAIDOC theme, Because of Her We Can, was a fantastic opportunity for us to take the Borna Boronga Cultural Reflection Space to the next level. So Because of Her We Can afforded us an opportunity to work with 7 female Noongar artists working on 2 portions of Noongar Nation each, and then working with a wood artist, Mr. Tom DeMonk, and having those art forms in the 2D carved into that wood there to bring that to life. And then the artistic display that's represented of special and unique occurrences that happen on that particular country. In addition to those 14 different poles that we have through here, the 14 boomerang seats that we have scattered through with Jarrah inserts, because we're on Whadjuk country. And a great number of them are paired and facing each other, so that people sitting at the front of the library can have a wongi or a conversation, coming together to learn. The plantings throughout the landscaped forecourt through here fit within the wider landscaping nuances of the Joondalup campus and our Swan Coastal Plained area. Certainly incorporating our balgas, our grass trees, very, very special and unique plant for a Noongar Nation. As you leave Noongar country, the balgas stop. And so I love to refer to them as the boundary plant. Certainly our balgas are physically striking, a great physical representation. Our landscape artists worked with some different iconography symbols, if you like. So some travel lines through the forecourt here. And it is some of those are already in situ, but we sought to reinforce some of those. So travel lines coming together from both sides around the fire pit, where parties have come together to meet, to discuss, for all things were important around our kala, and kala being one of our Noongar words for fire. The importance of fire, it was your heat at night time. Your light at night time, the smoke kept away the flies and insects, your oven for cooking, but also as a communique between the physical and the spiritual realms, and then source of inclusivity. And so when people were invited into a camp, you want to really make someone feel at home, you would invite them to contribute wood onto that fire, and they too then are part of that camp and that action around that fire for that night. The opportunity to have a fire pit on campus you know you're in a really good spot when you don't have to push that argument. The university suggested, and I quite graciously said, yes, please.